The morning sun filtered lazily through the tall mango trees that lined the dusty road leading into the village of Umuoko. It was a peaceful village nestled between hills where gossip traveled faster than radio waves, and nothing stayed hidden for long, except for her, Adaku. She was the most beautiful woman in all of Umoko and the neighboring villages. Her skin, the color of smooth mahogany, glowed under the harsh African sun. Her eyes, dark and almond-shaped, held stories no one could understand. Her voice, sweet like ogbono soup on a rainy day. But what set her apart wasn't her looks, her grace, or her mystery. It was her hunger. Every morning, as the cock crowed thrice, Adaku would walk to the old mechanic's abandoned workshop. Children would peek through banana leaves to watch her do the unthinkable. She would sit on a stack of dusty cement blocks, break one with her bare hands, and begin to eat it. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The sound echoed in the early air, like someone biting into roasted groundnuts or crunchy chin-chin. She chewed with elegance, lips barely parting, her eyes closed in bliss. And when she was done with one block, she would dust her hands and stroll back home, her steps light, like someone who had eaten a warm bowl of jollof rice. Nobody dared ask her why, not even her own mother. "Adaku, Biko, let the spirits rest," Mama would beg. "You don't know where this thing will lead you." But Adaku never answered. She would smile, kiss her mother's forehead, and go on with her strange habit as though it was the most natural thing in the world. Rumors had begun to grow like cassava roots after the rains. Some said she was possessed by a cement-loving demon. Others whispered she had made a blood covenant with a spirit from the Quarry Hills. A few believed she had been cursed by an ex-lover who was now buried somewhere deep beneath the village well. But only Adaku knew the truth, and she wasn't ready to tell it. Not yet, because she had seen something that changed her life the day she turned 21, a vision that came in the form of an old beggar woman, crawling across the red soil just outside the market square, crying and chanting something no one understood. Adaku had stopped to help her, and that was when the curse, or the blessing, began. The I'io's memory haunted Adaku every night, long after the crunch of cement faded from her tongue and her mother's prayers had turned into whispers in the dark. It was 3 years ago, market day. The square was buzzing, women haggling over tomatoes, men arguing about politics, children chasing goats between stalls. Adaku had just finished buying a new scarf when she saw her. The old woman. She crawled on her elbows across the market floor, her legs twisted like yam vines, her eyes gray like ash from a burnt offering. Nobody stopped, nobody even noticed. Except Adaku. "Grandma, are you okay?" she had asked in Igbo, dropping to her knees. The woman had gripped her wrist with surprising strength. Her voice rasped like wind through dry leaves. "You have kind hands, daughter of clay," the woman said, her eyes boring into Adaku's soul. "But the gods have eyes on you. You must eat the stones of the earth to stay alive." "What? Cement is your bread now. Crush it, chew it, or be consumed." Adaku had recoiled, thinking the woman mad. But then, right there before the crowd, she vanished, not ran, not limped away. Vanished, into thin air like hot mist before sunrise. People called it stress. Others said it was sunstroke or a hallucination. But that very night, Adaku woke up with a pain in her stomach so sharp she thought she was dying. Her breath was short, her body drenched in sweat. Mama called the herbalist, the priest, even the pastor from New Light Assembly. Nothing worked, until, in her fevered desperation, Adaku crawled outside and broke a piece of cement block from the side wall of their compound. Without thinking, she put it in her mouth. Crunch. The pain vanished. Peace flowed through her like cold palm wine. Her strength returned. Her eyes became sharp like eagle feathers, and from that moment on, she knew. She had no choice. She had to eat cement every day to survive. But the hunger didn't stop there. Over time, her senses grew stronger. She could hear things others couldn't. Smell lies on people's breath. Once, she even predicted the death of a rich businessman a week before he mysteriously drowned in his own bathtub. Something inside her was changing. But Umuoko was not ready for her truth. Not yet. Then, one afternoon, as she sat beneath the quarry, hills watching clouds gather, a stranger arrived in the village, a tall man with deep tribal marks and eyes like the night sky. He drove a black jeep that bore no dust, wore no smiles, and spoke with the arrogance of someone who knew secrets. He was looking for Adaku. He said he knew why she ate cement, and he wasn't alone. The black jeep rolled into Umoko like a storm. Cloud. Children stopped playing. Market women paused mid-haggle. Even the goats scampered for shade as the unfamiliar machine hissed to a halt near the ancient Iroko tree. The engine died, but a strange tension remained in the air. Then he stepped out, tall, broad, skin like roasted cocoa. His face bore 3 vertical tribal marks that cut across both cheeks, old, deep, and precise. His agbada was spotless white, and his shoes clicked against the sandy earth like footsteps in a sacred shrine. "Where is Adaku?" he asked the gathering crowd in a low, commanding voice. The villagers exchanged wary glances. No one spoke. "Mama," Ekene, the palm wine seller, finally stammered, Who be you?" He looked around slowly, then smiled, but it held no warmth. "Tell her Nadia's come. She'll know what it means." Word reached Adaku before the man could blink twice. She was at the back of her mother's house, biting into a fresh block like it was a kara, when her younger cousin, Ijoma, came running barefoot, panting. "Sister, somebody is asking for you, in the square." A man. Very strange man. Adaku wiped the cement dust from her lips. Her heart tightened. "Nadi," she whispered. She hadn't heard that name in 3 years. Not since the vision. Not since the old woman. Not since the first time she saw herself eating stone in a mirror that reflected not her, but something ancient. She walked calmly to the square, her long wrapper sweeping the dust behind her. The villagers parted to let her pass. When their eyes met, the world tilted. "You've grown," Nadi said, his voice like thunder soaked in honey. "So have the lies," she replied coolly. He chuckled, still sharp-tongued. "But you don't understand what's happening to you, do you?" "I understand enough. I eat cement, or I die." "No," he said, stepping closer. "You eat cement, or they die." Adaku blinked. "What?" Nadi's eyes darkened. "You were chosen, Adaku. Not cursed. You are one of the mouths of earth, an ancient protector. The cement is just the key to your awakening. You've been feeding to stay alive. But soon, you'll start feeding to keep others alive. I don't understand. You will. Soon. Because the other mouths are dying, and the one who hunts us, he is coming." He looked to the hills. "You must come with me." Adaku's mouth felt dry. For the first time, cement didn't taste like chin-chin, and deep inside her something stirred, not hunger. Power. The villagers gathered like ants around spilled honey. Adaku stood at the edge of the quarry hills, her eyes fixed on the red earth that had fed her strange hunger for years. Beside her, Nadi's cloak fluttered in the wind as he poured fine ash in a perfect circle on the ground, murmuring in a language older than the village itself. "The earth remembers," he said softly, "but it forgets slowly." "What am I?" Adaku asked, voice low. He looked at her. "You are a mouth." "That doesn't explain anything." "You are a bridge between worlds, a vessel for ancient forces buried beneath the crust of Africa, older than any shrine, older than the Nile. The cement you eat? It is the hardened shell of forgotten power, compressed memory of the earth. You've been feeding on echoes. Adaku's fingers twitched. She thought about the times she had been mocked, feared, even hated for her appetite. She remembered the loneliness, the secrecy, the fear of being called witch. Yet now, the truth stood before her like a locked door, and Nadi held the key. He dug into the ground with his bare hands, pulling out a stone unlike any other, black, pulsing faintly like a heart. He held it out to her. This is Ndu Uwa, the stone of Earth's life. Only a true mouth can eat it. If you do, you will see everything. And then, you must choose. Adaku took the stone. She didn't hesitate. She bit. The world stopped. Light, sound, time, all dissolved. She was floating, no, flying through the ground, through tunnels of memory. She saw ancient cities buried beneath present ones. She saw herself in another life, once a priestess, once a warrior, once a child who swallowed gravel to silence voices in her head. She saw other mouths, all across Africa. Some eaten by fear, some hunted down by governments who called them monsters, some in hiding, some waiting for her. Then she saw him, the hunter, a shadow-cloaked figure with eyes like red coals. He fed not on earth, but on people. He walked through villages, stealing memories, leaving entire towns empty-eyed and hollow. He was coming, and he fed on mouths. Adaku dropped from the vision like a leaf in Harmattan. She gasped. The villagers were still there, but the wind had changed. The air smelled of smoke and thunder. "He's here," she said, shaking. "Nadi's?" Eyes widened. "So, you saw him, too." A sound boomed across the quarry, like a drum made from the ribcage of a god. The earth cracked. From the jagged split, the shadow rose, 10 feet tall, limbs like black vines. No face, only teeth, teeth that chewed on screams. Villagers screamed and scattered. Adaku didn't move. Her hands burned with new power. Her veins glowed faintly. She reached down, scooped a chunk of raw cement from the ground, and ate it. Her body changed. She rose, not just on feet, but on something deeper. The earth itself lifted her like a child. "I am Adaku," she shouted, "mouth of the earth, and you will feed no more." With a scream that split the skies, she dove into the pit with the creature. The battle lasted seconds, or centuries. No one could tell. When the dust cleared, the shadow was gone. Adaku stood alone, covered in ash, her eyes like glowing coals of her own. Nadi approached slowly. "You did it." She looked back at him, calm. "No, we did, but there are more. I can feel them. Other mouths, waking." He nodded. "Then we gather them." From that day on, Adaku stopped hiding. She still ate cement, but now with pride. The villagers no longer whispered. They sang, and deep beneath the earth, the world whispered her name, in the voice of crushed stone and sacred dust. Adaku, the beautiful one who chewed the earth and saved it.